It's time to dad. Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Time to Dad. I'm here with Chris, Alex, and Luke. I was thinking, guys, tonight we might talk about kind of the man of the house role. If that jives with your household, if you're the man of the house, if you're not the man of the house, if there's kind of some gender norm roles that your spouse provides that normally a dad might do, just whatever. Open the floor up. Whoever wants to go first.
I think we got a kind of a pretty balanced setup, but my wife does enjoy mowing the lawn, and I'm not going to get in her way. But other than that, I feel like we're pretty balanced between managing the home, the kids, and work and all that. We've been kind of fortunate like that.
Nice.
That being said, when it gets to be a down and dirty, then that's going to be on me.
I was gonna say somebody's got to go down in the crawl space.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
go kill a giant bug somewhere.
Things like that.
Yeah. I'd say in my house we're pretty kind of stereotypical husband wife. So yeah, she'll grab a bag of trash and take it out occasionally, but usually it's like, hey, trash full. You want to run that outside? And of course I get the bag that blows out all over the damn floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Just happens to me.
Yeah. But all the 90% of the yard maintenance I end up doing. She'll occasionally come out and pull some weeds when they get really bad somewhere, or she wants to plant more plants to kill. She'll go out and clean up the beds, but yeah, other than that, I kind of got to do the heavy lifting stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a little different boat as a single dad now. I pretty much do it all. But going back to when my ex and I were together, it was pretty much a 50-50 split, I would say, in general, right? There was stuff that she would do outdoor stuff. She would do, like she would always do the painting on the inside of the house, and I would never do that, but I would usually do the typical lawn, work on the cars, all that kind of stuff. Or work poorly on the cars and then hire somebody else to go actually do it right. Is really what I guess how I would say I did it. But
mechanics love that, right, Alex? Somebody tries to fix it and then ends up towing it into you.
Yeah. Fixing somebody else's mistake. It's like, I understand you're trying to save X amount of money, because I know some repairs are very expensive. I get it. I understand that aspect of it. But when I'm coming in and I'm just watching a disaster in an engine bay or something else, and I have to fix it because you were being cheap or whatever word you want to choose,
Frugal.
It sucks for
we
me.
call it being frugal.
Or broke.
or
smart with your money, broke. I mean, whatever you want to call it. That's why I said
sticking it to the man.
So I guess in my household, we keep it very traditional. Like, I do all the mechanical work. At this point, I'm doing the yard work. Anything involving heavy anything is dad's duty. My wife thankfully started gardening, so she's kind of out there doing her own thing too. And of course, everybody in the house is reaping the benefits of that beautiful labor that she's doing. But yeah, we're keeping everything very traditional. Just dad does dad stuff, wife does wife stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but yeah, that's how we keep it at our house.
Yeah. Who does the laundry around y'all's house? She does. See, my wife will do all the laundry, but mine, because I'm picky as shit, and she'll put like some of my dress clothes in the dryer that should not be going in the dryer, or she'll shrink the shit out of my sweaters accidentally. So
quote unquote accidentally.
Yeah, a couple times of that, and I got pretty ticked off. And she's like, "All right, you're doing your own shit."
I think I'm convinced to do most of the laundry, and she's convinced she does most of the laundry. We pretty much share it. We got 6 of us living in the house.
Yeah, man. You got industrial laundry machines there?
I've been having our 2 boys start folding their own laundry, and they just
that's a lot of laundry.
hard work.
Man, our son's in that phase where if he gets anything on his clothes, it's like immediately new outfit, gotta go change.
Yeah.
He'll like dribble water on himself out of his like sippy cup, and he's like, I'm water's on my pants. I need to go change. So he'll
Or
wear
they'll
like
get changed.
3 outfits a day.
Get out of their pajamas, get into clothes, go swim, so put on swim shorts, get out the pool, put on new clothes,
Yeah.
decide to swim again later, put on new clothes again. I'm just like, no, guys, get put them all back in that drawer. Like, not a chance.
He'll do that, and I'll catch him. I'll catch him trying to change again, or when he's going to bed, I'll grab a pair of pajamas that like he put on for shits and giggles and try to put them on him, and he'll catch me. He's like, no, I've already worn those. It won't. He'll fight me tooth and nail to put them on.
I was raised, you can wear pajamas 3 or 4 nights in a row. It's fine.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was the same way.
Yeah.
Parents don't wanted 5 loads of laundry a week of clothes that you maybe drooled on.
And trying to fold them, and they're like,
no,
the size of my
God. All right, thank God my wife does his clothes, because that is not for me. I'll like take them out of the dryer, and I'll take them upstairs and make sure they're up there so she don't have to carry it up there. But I refuse to like fold little teeny pants and shirts and pair socks together. I hate socks.
I feel like that you're just asking for arthritis when you're doing like little tiny folds. You know what I mean?
So ridiculous. We do hang a lot of his stuff up for that very reason, because it's easier. Just like his pants will go in a drawer, but like all of his shirts, no matter what they are, they're all hung up because nobody wants to fold all that.
Because when you're sleep, they pull the drawers up, they throw the clothes all over the bedroom.
Our son's big. He'll take like his socks, and he'll cram as much just random shit as he can into his sock. You'll pull out like a battery. You'll pull out rocks from the yard, like a Band-Aid from getting his vaccines the other day. He'll just cram anything he can find in the house. And you'll pick up a sock thinking it's just a sock, and it weighs like 5 pounds. And you're like, what in the hell?
We try putting child locks on the drawers. He just rips them all straight off.
Oh, really? God.
No, he's an animal.
He'll ransack his drawers if he's in his room for like timeout. But if he's in there for quiet time or going to bed, usually he's pretty good about not ripping everything out of the drawer. But he was I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something else weird. Oh, speaking of like his weird tendencies of cramming stuff in socks, he's got a new fascination with rocks. And so he came home yesterday, and this morning I'm getting him ready. So I'm putting his snack in his backpack and his water bottle. And I was like, there's only a spare change of clothes in here. Why does your backpack weigh like 10 pounds? And I opened the pocket to put his snack in it. And it's like 5 pounds of rocks that he and a kid at his daycare, while they were waiting to be picked up, just started filling his backpack with rocks. And I was like, okay, dude, we're not going to bring any more rocks home today, right? And he's like, nope, I won't bring any rocks home. And so as soon as I go to pick him up from grandma's, nice, and I felt his backpack again, I was like, oh my God, he brought home more rocks. So now we just have his little play table downstairs. There's just a mound of rock.
Oh my God!
As I just showed you, I'm still bringing home rock.
Yeah.
So
it'll
probably last a lifetime.
That's all right. That's a fancy rock though.
Yeah.
He's picking up like the riprap like walkway rock. It's not even there's nothing even appealing about it.
Well, you guys have the younger kids. Mine are teens, and for them, I mean, we had them doing their own laundry a long time ago. But for them, putting their laundry away entails basically taking it straight out of the dryer in a big handful and stuffing as much as you can into whatever drawer space is available, and then you're done. That's the extent of putting your clothes away. Yeah,
I get yelled at because I don't know if you guys have seen that. I think it was a Facebook reel where the wife's talking about how men have like. Well, the wife got mad because the clothes are all over the floor, and the husband tries to explain, like, there's the dirty pile, there's the clean pile, and then there's the in-between pile where it's okay to wear it again if you want to wear it again. And I tried explaining to my wife that I fall under that category for some stuff. And she's like, just put your shit in the hamper. And I was like, but then I have to dig through the hamper if there's something I want to wear again.
Yep.
She doesn't get it. So I get that's the other reason she stopped doing my laundry, because she got tired of asking me what needs to go in and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But so what other
Yeah, I think-
weird roles do y'all have around the house, if any?
I'm the early morning one, so I get up early. So I'm only the one waking the kids up, getting the breakfast ready.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, early mornings. And in the afternoons, she'll pick up the extra kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
how we are.
then we both.
Yeah, Jen goes to work earlier than I do, so I stay home a little later because he can't get to daycare till just shy of 9:00. So unless it's a weekend and she's not shooting, I'm usually getting him up and ready for school and drive.
Daycare only opens at 9?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird daycare. So he goes. It's always been a half day. So we take him in for a half day, and then my mom takes him for the second half of the day, and then we pick him up from there. But yeah, they have the most asinine like times, but the price of the daycare is ridiculously good compared to like the full day daycares, and it just kind of worked with my mom, wanting to help out with him and stuff too, because he loves going over there after daycare. But yeah, it is really annoying that I can't drop him off to 9, so I end up working through lunch every day and stuff like that to make sure I still get my hours in, but I get home at a decent time kind of thing. So it's obnoxious, but it's a big money saver.
Yeah.
That's
What do
something.
you pay the daycare?
What's that?
What do you pay for daycare?
It's so his summer camp is $125 a week.
Jeez.
Which isn't bad at all. And then
that's pretty.
yeah,
good,
his regular weekly I think is like I want to say it's like 200 when they're not in like summer school mode. So it's pretty cheap, and they go a little bit longer for the regular the non-summer time, but they do have weird hours, and that's kind of the thing. Not everyone can take their kids there if you don't kind of have the situation we do, where you have either a parent that's home all day or somebody that can watch them the second half. But yeah, a full day of daycare around here ranges from like 1,500 up to like 3,000 a week. It's
Wow.
I don't know how some people do that. It's just
and that's
blows my mind.
something I always struggled with, because like my ex and I both work, but we had very flexible jobs. So normally like either I would drop off and then she would pick up, because we a lot of times the daycare or school, right, it starts after your job would typically start and ends before it would typically end, right? And so we would alternate, but I don't understand how a family if both parents are working and they don't have a lot of flexibility in their jobs, right? I mean, I don't know how you would deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's A, it's so expensive, but then B, you can't drop them off at 6 a.m. and pick them up at 6 p.m. or whatever, right?
I think
I know there's a lot of parents whose moms don't work just because if she works, she's going to earn plus some daycare. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I was gonna. What do you guys do now, Alex? Because you have 2.
The wife stays at home with my kids.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say, because it's probably cheaper than putting 2 kids in daycare and working, or you'd just be paying for daycare probably.
She's always worked, so it was like a huge like shock to her like life to not work. So she tried to go back. I couldn't even tell you if it was 6 months or 7 months later. She just had to do something. She's just, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was a year later. I don't know. But she just had to work. She didn't feel right not working. So she made the attempt, but she wound up, you know what? I'm not even going to mention the place because they don't need any more broadcast because they have enough money in their pockets. But she worked for this company, and they promised to work with her schedule, and she could only work Tuesday through Thursday, I think. Like every other Saturday, she was willing to work, but she preferred not to work. And they promised that, yes, we're going to do this. And then it lasted all about 3 weeks, maybe. And she talked to her manager because she immediately noticed that she changed her schedule for the week after. And she said, hey, can we talk about this? This is not what we agreed on. They wouldn't acknowledge it or accept that that's what she wanted. So she said, well, if we're not going to change anything, I'm just not going to work.
Wow.
And in those few days, in those few weeks, I should say, my mother-in-law was watching my kids, and she's not old. She's not old, but she's not young. So she can only watch them for so long. She has other stuff to do. You know what I mean? To put that on her, it would be a lot. I mean, it saved us money, but the money we were making versus the money that I was saving, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was good. And I forget how old they are again, but the younger they are, the more expensive it is for childcare too.
Yeah.
Or at least here in Virginia, because we have a limit of, based on the age of the child or the baby, you have to have so many staff per child, and the younger the child is, the more staff you have to have. So if you're sending anything below a toddler to daycare, it's like automatically double the friggin' price.
Yeah, I think we were paying $530 a week, and now we're paying $490 a week, and then in a week or two they go up another level and supposed to come down another like $20 or $30.
Yeah,
So it's like $2.5 grand a month.
so expensive.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
It eats into that bank account.
That's
man.
why I am
Yeah.
so thankful my mom has been able to help us out, because and work from home was nice for a while too, because during COVID, his school was still open. I mean, they had some crazy policies, but at that point, my office wasn't back open full time. So I was able to go and get him from daycare after the half day or whatever and bring him home. And his daycare, I mean, this year, the attendance like skyrocketed. And I think it's because of people can work from home now. And it's not really, people are kind of used to kids running around in the background doing stupid shit while you're in the middle of a meeting. It still happens to this day. Somebody will be on a meeting and they're like, yeah, sorry if you hear crashing in the background. My kid's currently pretending to be a tornado or whatever.
I remember
Oh my God.
when I was on a Zoom meeting. It was quite an important meeting, and my kid, how old was he? I think he was, 3 or 4. And I just see him pop a squat on the carpet just to my right.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Nice.
Within view of the camera, or only you could see it?
No,
Oh,
just
that's
on camera,
funny.
but I had to keep a straight face, and I couldn't move, and I just had to be like, I'm gonna kill
Oh man.
him. And just sort of keep running in the meeting, so nothing was going
I've
on.
been on meetings
Oh, my
where you see somebody talking to their kid and they're on mute, and all of a sudden the laptop just flies off the table. You're like, oh shit.
Oh,
Like, I don't know if the
goodness.
kid grabbed the cord or the laptop, but it was very obvious that laptop just flew off the damn table. And you're just like, oh boy, I feel your pain.
Did you see that one BBC correspondent that went viral because this kid kept coming in the door behind him?
Yeah, and he's
from
like
his home
pushing
office?
him out and cursing him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They interviewed him after. He couldn't stand up because he was in like bright yellow boxer shorts with a jacket inside. He couldn't move, and he just said, "Oh,
That's great. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
was just thinking today, I had one of those days where I just got out of bed and went and sat down on my computer and started working. And next thing I knew, I stood up. It was like 1:00 in the afternoon. I didn't even have pants on yet. And I was like, okay, this is a good day. This is a great way to
Yep.
to work from home. You don't even need pants.
Oh, it was great.
yeah."
If I wanted a snack, I'd just walk to the refrigerator, go get a drink, walk outside, get a breath of fresh air, do whatever. Run an errand if you had to run an errand. Yeah, that was all nice. So,
It's all coming to an end now. It seems, most people going back, yeah.
now? Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
they kind of politely asked, like, hey, COVID's kind of over. You should be in the office more, especially with like the younger kind of junior staff. They're really pushing them hard. I mean, I'm back in the office 5 days a week. I'd say 75% of our offices, but like our other offices, our bigger offices, they're still, they kind of do a rotation still. So they rotate. A certain group is there for 3 days, and then another group is there for 3 days, and they kind of come in and out that way. But they're in.
Which do you prefer?
I like being in the office just because, I mean, Teams is convenient and all, but it doesn't beat being able to just walk 2 cubicles over and have face-to-face conversation with somebody. I don't know. I need to be. I'm not full-blown introvert, but I don't like people all that much. But I still need like people interaction outside of the house. So it's just nice being face-to-face with people, and you got somebody to shoot the shit with when you're trying to get your work done or talk shit about whoever's on the project you're on if you want. So I definitely prefer in office, even though you lose some of those opportunities to take 10 minutes and get something done around the house or run to the store if you got an errand to run. But I can still do all that stuff at work now. It's just it's harder to make up that time once you leave the office because but I definitely prefer being in the office.
Right. I prefer. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on it. I think when it's not summer break, I can work from home quite happily. But if my wife
The
and kids
and
are home,
everybody's home, you're like, nah.
and running up and down, and they don't understand. Like, daddy's in a meeting, the door's locked. They just get on the bar stool, get the little key, open the office door, and like, hey, dad.
Like, what? That's funny. It's our son. I mean, he really started. COVID was like at its peak. Started like ramping up. What was that? 3 years ago now, I think. So he really like grew up in that world where that was the norm. Where like I was home with him, and he knew I had conference calls, and when he was with my mom, she'd have conference calls. So he kind of grew up that when he came into the room, he'd usually like ask, and he'd tap you and say, "Hey, are you on the phone or can you talk, Daddy?" Rather than just screaming through the room. And
our kids.
Yeah, he learned to understand. When I had the headset on or whatever, that I was on a call, and he'd be pretty quiet. But he kind of grew up in a unique time where that's all he knew for the longest time.
I mean, as well, because they grew up with that as well. Maybe they're slow.
Yeah, they just didn't give a shit. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, he still had his moments where I'd have to like, I mean, we have all the safety doorknobs on, so I'd just have to say fuck it and walk out of the room and close the door, and he couldn't get out, so at least he wasn't jumping in the background. But if I went unmuted, you could hear him screaming in the background because he's ticked off at me. But you gotta do what you gotta do in those situations, I guess. But I mean, working from home was definitely a fun time and a interesting thing to figure out with a 2-3-year-old running around.
Yeah. Alex, how old are your twins? Are you potty training yet?
They're going to be 2 in November. I don't know what that age makes them. 22 months. I don't fucking know. They're young.
I never got the month thing either. Yeah.
Okay, because I was at 2.5, and we got to get them potty trained now. And it was a nightmare doing our boys one at a time. So to do 2 of them is going to be.
Oh, dude. My wife tried. She tried. My daughter, actually pretty good. She woke up at the same. They all woke up at the same time. So my wife would take my daughter. She didn't like the cold little plastic potty thing that we got her. Understandable, no big deal. But when she sat down, my wife just sat down next to her, and sure enough, they both would pee. And my daughter did great. My son hated every second of it, and because my son would give her such a hard time, she kind of like gave up. Like 3 weeks ago, she just gave up because he's such a little pain in the butt. But dude, I'm not here enough to like help her out with it either. You know what I mean?
Our son was. Somebody go. That was 3 of us at once.
No, I'm just saying we're going to struggle with it because we got I think I've heard the girls get it real quick, and then I've heard guys they'll do it whenever they're ready.
Yeah. Our youngest boy, our firstborn, he was potty trained like super early, like was crazy easy. We don't even know. I don't think we did it. It was just all him. But then my youngest was a little more difficult, but man, what did it for him was having a treat. Yeah. We got Skittles, and we kept Skittles around, and that became such a crazy reward. It went from a major battle to like overnight. I mean, he still had some accidents, but he was invested in doing it. He wanted to do it because he knew there would be a Skittle at the end.
You gotta watch out for the false alarms with the treats. We did the treats as well, you do. But then he started realizing, anytime I at least go sit on the toilet, I'm getting a treat. So we kind of had to modify
Yep.
the treat routine.
We did too.
I mean, Emerson, I wouldn't say he was hard. I mean, he was the only kid I potty trained, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But it was, I think consistency was one of the keys. Treats, like Chris said, and then we did. I don't know who's. I think my mom started it with them, but like we made an absolutely gigantic deal when he would actually like use the potty. I mean, we did like we had a fucking poopy in the potty song that we would sing, and it's the most ridiculous shit outside looking. No, I'm not singing it, but it's ridiculous outside looking in. But I mean, he ate it up. He got so. I'm not doing it.
We have to hear it, buddy.
I mean, yeah, stuff like that. Like anything you can do to get them legitimately excited about it is what helps. Yep. And I had a guy at work so he finally was potty trained enough to where he'd sit on the little potty on the floor. Sometimes he'd sit on the little seat you put on top of the potty, and he got good at that. And then it came time to show him how to, pee standing up without pissing everywhere. And a guy at work was a godsend because he recommended putting Cheerios in the toilet and making a game out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I'd go in there with him, because I tried to show him and all he wanted to do was stare at my crotch the whole time, trying to figure out why there's a size difference, right? And so I couldn't get him to pee and pay attention to what he was doing to save his life. And then my coworker was like, yeah, when my kid was potty training, I just threw a handful of Cheerios in the toilet and told him to pee on the Cheerios. And for whatever reason, that worked. Cheerios in the potty.
I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, try the Cheerios.
Nice.
But you got,
I'm getting Skittles and Cheerios.
Yeah, you got to have treats, you got to make it a game, and you got to like legitimately seem excited when, I mean, you obviously are as a parent when your kid goes potty, but
yeah,
you got to go above and beyond the excitement to where it's extravagant. He's going potty now because we're talking about going potty. But
to be done with
I'll be honest, all this potty talk makes me want to go pee right now. I'm not even lying.
Just use your Modelo can.
Oh no! I don't know
you got a potty book.
You see that?
We might have that book.
Everyone poops. Yeah.
You still have that? Is that for when you forget how to go to the bathroom?
I just saw it the other day. Yeah.
That's funny. Everyone poops. I think I've seen that book. That was on. Yeah, I don't know. Really, it's a lot of trial and error to figure out what your kid will and won't do. Our son for the longest time thought, I think we had a little Paw Patrol, one of those little sit on the ground toilets. Yeah. All he wanted to do was take the thing apart and walk around with it. And
yeah, that's what they do.
I mean, he didn't care that there'd been poop and pee in it. That's all he wanted to do was just play with it like it was a toy.
And they haven't used it yet. They just either sit on it or they carry it around.
Yeah, exactly. And we're
kind of procrastinating because we just know you got to take 3 days of just take the mess.
Yeah.
Watch them like hawks kind of thing.
I will say, I think it's also harder for parents. If you don't have friends that also are potty training kids, it's more difficult too. Because we were fortunate enough, my mom was watching Emerson and my nephew, and they were both potty training. So she had potties at her house. We had them at our house, and then my sister had potties at her house. So it was easy pretty much anywhere we were going to be other than out in public to just, get a routine and every 20 minutes have them go sit on the pot. I don't think it was that often, but you know what I mean? But there was always a potty around. And I think if you're a parent that is going places or friends' houses that don't have potty training kids, unless you take like the little portable kids potty with you everywhere, which I've seen parents do. That wouldn't be me, but it might be a little more difficult then.
It is when you go out because then you can throw them off, right? Yeah. They may not be willing to go out in a public toilet and all that stuff, right? So that's a challenge. Once you get them going, it's like you don't want to do anything to disrupt it because they'll just suddenly stop and then it's like starting over again.
My son had a thing with like if a bathroom was too wide open and super echoey, he would just walk in and immediately be done with the bathroom. He wouldn't go to the bathroom because the toilet when it flushed was just stupid loud, and he didn't. And like I said, he really grew up through COVID where all you did was stay home. So when we
Right.
started going out in public, that was like a loud ass toilet, and the air hand dryers were kind of sensory overloads for him. I mean, now he's a lot better. He'll go wherever. But yeah, at
Yeah,
first, if the bathroom just didn't click with him, or he looked at the toilet, and was like, "No, that's gonna be a loud toilet," he wouldn't even bother to
you know,
go.
they're like they hear like a loud hand dryer or whatever. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so loud. But they'll sit and put YouTube on,
Oh my
or
god,
YouTube Kids,
Yeah.
and these screaming kids on these shows. And I'm just like, turn that shit down.
that's exactly what he does. Yep. He'll tell
Come
you
on.
something's too loud, and then you'll walk into the room 2 minutes later, and your ears start bleeding because he's got the TV up so loud. That's just kids, man.
Yep.
But
Get older eventually.
it'll be fine, Alex. You got this.
I'm
Yeah,
barely starting.
It just they all of a sudden it clicks.
Yeah, you don't even
and
remember
one day,
when they
one day they're
start
not doing it,
doing
the
it.
next day they
Yeah.
are. Yeah,
I too were like that. We like never sort of officially instigated potty training. They just kind of one day showed interest, and we didn't stop them, and off they went, kind of thing.
Right.
But it was one at a time, so it was easier. Having the twins is got to be a little bit more observant for where they are
Yeah.
and what they're doing.
Yeah. Emerson, he probably about a month ago, he finally stopped wearing diapers for bedtime too, which is awesome.
Wow,
Because
that's awesome.
I hate buying, and luckily he hasn't had an accident. He's had a few where he's like called out to us, and we haven't had the monitor on, and he's done some gross ass shit like just pee on the carpet in his room, because he'll call out, and if we didn't have the monitor on and we're downstairs, we wouldn't hear him, and poor guy would just be like, well, I gotta go, so I'm going on the floor, which sucks. So that kind of sucks.
How old is he?
Not he'll be 5 in December now.
No, that's awesome.
But yeah, we haven't figured out when.
That's the home stretch, man.
Yeah.
That's when you're like the worst of the tantrums and the diapers and all of that stuff.
I think we
They
talked
start
about it
becoming-
on a episode before. He gives my wife some hell, and I'm convinced it's partially her and just the way she handles him, which she gets pissed off when I talk about it. And then she's convinced that, well, all my mom friends say that, boys are always just worse with their moms, which I don't buy into, but that's her argument. And I'm like, okay. Because, I mean, he throws temper tantrums with me, but they're usually not nearly as bad. And I can kind of calm him down or redirect him. So we've been trying to pinpoint exactly what might be triggering him that's different with her than me, but haven't figured it out yet.
I think the big thing is setting boundaries, because I'm stricter than my wife.
That's me too.
They will push her and push her and push her. With me, they'll push me to a point. And they know the tone or the look, and they're like, "Oh, we're done."
Yeah, I'll raise my voice just enough, and he'll immediately go and just kind of sit down on the floor and immediately be quiet. And I mean, he knows that I'm ticked off and he's hit a nerve. But with my wife, he'll be like hitting or something. She'll be like, "Okay, stop it, like 20 times. As where if he was doing that to me, I already would have stopped it like 15 times ago.
I lost all my boys today because we were busy doing a flip, and I left to go order, I think it was a new screen or whatever, and they were playing with my wife's phone when I left while she was busy working on something else. And when I got there, they were asking what color we wanted. I was like, shit, I forgot we agreed on. So I tried to call her, and my boys answered the phone, like, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, "Hey, let me speak to Mom, please." They're like, "Sure." And they hang it up. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure that was an accident." And they call again, and they cut it off. And I'm like, I call again. And they answer, like, "Let me speak to Mom, boys." Like, okay. And they hang up. And then after that, they did it 2 more times. And I was like, "Look, just do this color, and I'll let you know if there's any changes." Get in the car driving back, and I just start calling them nonstop to try and get a hold of him. And they kept cutting me off.
Oh, man.
I walked into that house, and I was like, "Give me that phone, give me the switch." Like, and they were in tears.
Yeah.
I felt bad, but yes, I was angry. They did not care.
You can try your damn. I mean, unless you're like Gandhi in the household, you're gonna lose your shit at one point or another. And
It was bad just what if I was in trouble or needed
Yeah,
help?
that's
You
true.
know,
Yeah.
call me
I gotta use the bathroom, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
then, you know, and they just keep cutting off because they want to play games. Like, no way.
Yeah.
So they got a stern talking to
Yeah, because
experience.
you don't have the home phone anymore that you can.
I said to my mom, it's funny,
Yeah.
one of my core memories was my dad used to own a steakhouse. And I was talking to some girl on the little landline for like 2 hours between 7 and 9. And he was trying to call my mom during that
Oh,
time.
got the
I just
busy
kept hitting the
signal.
engage tone. And when he eventually got hold of me, he just shut me out from a dizzy height. And I was kind of like, oh, history repeated itself.
That
Now my voice
yeah, that happened when I was coming up like right when the internet started getting popular. So we had the AOL and there were a few times where mom was trying to call or dad was, and all you get's a busy signal. They were not happy. But times are a changing. But now,
Yeah.
do you guys have home phones now? Yeah,
No.
I don't think they even build new construction homes with landlines anymore.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that's
I mean it's all it's
Everything's-
usually all through like your cable provider if you get it now. But we technically have a home phone number because with Verizon it's cheaper if you do the phone, internet, and cable than if you don't do the phone. So we have a number, but yeah, we don't have any equipment for that hooked up in our house.
the split we're doing was like a time capsule. Built in '76, had the original green shag carpets,
Ooh,
original mustard yellow.
That sounds like my house.
And it's got the wall mounted telephone in the kitchen. Sling it
Oh
along.
man.
Spiral. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
So
Total time capsule.
our house, when it was built in, I don't remember the exact year, the late 60s. And when we moved in, all the light switches, you know the game Trouble with the little popper bubble in the middle where the dice is? So
Yeah.
all the light switches were these little white bubbles like that. And that's how you turn the light on and off, was you push the little bubble to toggle it. And I asked my mom, I was like, what the hell are these? And she was like, yo, those were the light switches you bought if you had money back in the day. And I was like, really? Because these things are annoying as fuck. Because they were super worn out, so you'd push it and it wouldn't quite like toggle right, so the light would just be flickering or those were interesting. Luckily, at the time, my wife worked for an electrical contractor. She was the office manager, and they basically, when we bought the house, we knew I had to redo pretty much all the electrical, and they pretty much gifted her all the receptacles, all new light switches and lighting and stuff. So we got pretty lucky with that. The service was already upgraded and the wiring was fine, but outside of that, everything was just ancient. The carpet, the walls, the appliances, knotty pine kitchen cabinets. I mean, everything. Beautiful oak floors under all the carpeting, the shag carpeting, which we refinished. But I was just like, who in their right mind thought this was like a good design decision for this stuff? Because it was I call my wife because it was a stupid good deal, and I'm standing in the backyard on the screen porch. Our realtor's inside, and I was like, I got to put an offer in on this house. Like, I don't think we can wait. It had just hit the market, and she's like, the fuck you are? Like, you're not gonna put an offer in on a house if I can't look at it. And I was like, just go look at the ad online. And so she insisted, no, well, I'll go look at it with you tomorrow. And luckily, we went back the next day and we put an offer in and they took it. But I was like, man, we are going to lose this house because my wife does not trust me to make a sound decision. And she walked in and looked at everything, all the old carpet and shit. And she's not a visionary with that kind of stuff because she doesn't. I mean, she knows I'm handy and can do that kind of stuff, but she has trouble like picturing the after of what it'll look like when, we retrim and paint and rip the carpet out and shit. So, but luckily we got the house. But yeah, 1970s, 60s houses are really interesting. Some of the stuff you come across, if you have.
We did a flip last year, and they had done I think they called it a time capsule, but basically when the family lived in the home for like 20 or 30 years, they had recovered the one wall with, I don't know, whatever it was, and we were ripping it down. There's all these messages on the back, and it was sweet because the lady's father had passed away recently, and there's a message from him written on the wall there, which is pretty cool.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking. So when we redid this house, the downstairs bathroom, the trim around the door, they had put like scratched in little hatch marks for all their kids and their heights and the years. And so I thought that was pretty awesome. And I told my mom, and she was like, well, that's pretty funny you mention it, because when her and my dad, they had an unfinished basement in their first house. And when they went through and finished the basement, they did the same thing. They put some stuff, you know, Bruce and Kathy, whatever year it was, and this renovation sucked, whatever they wrote. But her old neighbor still lived beside the old house. And she said when they renovated the downstairs, they came over and told her that they uncovered the piece of wall where my parents had like written everything, and they thought it was absolutely hilarious. But
that's awesome.
I've seen where they like hide the little fake skeletons in walls for future renovators to find and stuff, which is hilarious. I'm usually so pissed off renovating that I don't even think about doing silly shit like that. But
my dad worked.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say my dad worked for the phone company, and growing up, and I thought it was normal at the time, but we actually had an old wooden phone booth inside our house that had all the old graffiti, the carvings in it, and all that stuff. And then he just refurbished it and put a phone we didn't have to put quarters in, you know. But that was awesome going through. You could actually see what everybody had written and all that stuff. It was really neat.
That's cool.
So I think we have enough time for this last topic. I think I was thinking of renovation work and stuff like that. What are your guys? What's your take on honey-do lists?
Honey, don't. I'm the original.
You want to know how? So here's how my honey-do list typically starts. It starts with my wife seeing something on Pinterest, asking me if I'll do it, and me being like, yeah, I'll get to it at some point. Her getting ticked off because I'm taking too long to get to it, and starting it herself. And then when she's like bawling her eyes out because she can't do what she's trying to do, or it's not turning out right, I end up having to come in and do the project. And I think that's her way of making me do shit. Is that if I don't get to it quick enough, she knows if she threatens to start it herself that I'll just do it, because I don't want to have to like come in and fix things or redo things.
For me, it's if I'm going to fix it there and then when it happens, like our kids are just trying to swing from the curtain or something, I don't know, they ripped the whole curtain rod out, and I had to fix it there and then, because otherwise that thing's going to be hanging down for a month.
Yeah.
Because I just get too distracted in life. So I was like, shit. Yeah. Stop what I'm doing and get it done.
Yeah, if it's like broken shit like that, yeah, I'll try to get to it right away. But if it's like she wanted a what do you call it? It's in our mudroom. There, it's the bench. You like throw all your shit on it, or you sit on it. It holds shoes, and she wanted one of those built out of like pallet wood. And she comes up with like projects like that are pretty time-consuming projects, and I'm just like, man, stay off Pinterest, please. If your wife's not on Pinterest, none of you ever let her on there.
We're in the same boat, and fortunately, I had a past client who made those, so she gave me a deal.
Oh, nice. Yeah, every time I do something.
My issue is I have about 90 projects that are like 90% done. Right, same. Everything is like 90% done.
I'm the king of starting stuff and not finishing it, and then I beat myself up because when I look at the stuff I do, I see every little flaw or every little shortcut I took, and I'm like, I tell myself anybody coming in my house is going to see it, and in reality, I know they're not. You know, unless there's somebody else like me that does that kind of crap all the time, they're not going to notice silly shit. No. But I still give myself hell over it every time I walk in a room where I fuck something up that irks me. And
it's like the TikTok video, because like the risk of generalizing, a lot of women are very concerned about how the home looks if you have a guest over. It's like no one's going to walk in and be like, oh, I can't believe you didn't clean your baseboards.
Yeah.
Like it's just wouldn't look at your home like that. They just want to walk in and have a good time, for the most part.
I don't know, man.
So,
With the toddler running around, if we don't clean when people come over, it can.
oh no, we clean, but we don't have to deep clean. Like, it doesn't have to be.
Oh yeah, I don't do
picture
that.
perfect.
We just throw shit in closets and make sure there's a
Yeah,
there's a walking path and
under beds.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when companies coming over is like the one time we actually filled the trash can within a week, because there's just shit that you put everywhere because you're just so damn tired. So, but all right, gentlemen. Well, I think we are coming up on our rough time limit here. I hope everyone had a good time. Talking about some man of the house. Potty training was certainly a interesting interesting topic in the old honey-do list. So thank you guys for sticking around. Check out the Facebook group, like, subscribe, and leave us some comments. See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.
See you guys.